Dojang! What's up, people of I seen elsewhere? This is Undefeatable Twilight. No, I'm not doing a storytime video just yet. Just wanted to do a random video now because, like I said, I can do them whenever I feel like it. So, I recently stumbled upon this Broadly article titled "The Shockingly Convincing Argument That Severus Snape is Transgender." This is a fan theory that uses a lot of circumstantial evidence and taking things either too literally or too laterally to prove, note the massive quotation marks, that Severus Snape in Harry Potter is a transgender woman. Yes, you heard that right. They somehow have convinced themselves that Snape identifies as female. And basically, what I can say about this, well, I have a lot I can say about it, but essentially, what it all boils down to is this is just it's just a fanfic theory, really. It's basically, it never strays beyond headcanon, and even then, it stretches it a lot of the time. So, but as stupid as it is, this thing has freaking exploded on the internet, majorly on Tumblr. There is a growing community of people who fully support this theory. Basically, they take like excerpts from the Harry Potter books that point to Snape's true gender identity and stuff. There's like there's a trans Snape week where they all get together and celebrate this kind of thing. So yeah, so I'm gonna go through. I'll link the article in the description so you can read it. But I'm just gonna go through it and like analyze it point by point and break it down. It's like what this one person who goes by Ensnaping the Senses on Tumblr, who started this whole Trans Snape Week thing. They say that the contextual clues all point to it. Yeah, that even that is kind of suspicious. That's like saying like the parts I take out of context, well, the contextual clues, yeah, and it's like in what context? Because that to me just says like okay, this could possibly be referring to Snape as trans, so I'm going to say that it is. And that's basically the whole argument of this, is I think Snape should be trans, so my headcanon now says that he or she, whatever it is, I think Snape should be trans, so I've decided that canon says he is, even though it doesn't. It's also using the it didn't say he's not trans, so that means he definitely is argument as well. Even though the result is never confirmed, it is also never outright denied. Guys, absence of evidence does not equal evidence of absence, or whatever. Basically, just because it doesn't say he's not doesn't mean that he is, and this is a problem that a lot of because this whole thing is really common in anything with a huge fan base, because anything with a huge fan base will have a sizable part of that fan base be part of the LGBT community, and yes, I know there are more letters than that in the initialism, but I'm shortening it to make it easier for me to say, because if I had to say LGBTQIAXP7 ? Whatever every time, have you seen the full initialism is ridiculously long, so I'm using LGBT because it's short and easy to say, and not implying any exclusion of the other groups like the asexual. My phone keeps giving me alerts. I'm not implying any exclusion of those, just shortening it to make it easier for me to say, okay? No offense intended to anyone in that community. But yeah, anything with a sizable fan base will have quite a few of those fans be part of the LGBT community, and what they want to do in lieu of actual representation within the series itself is invent fan theories and basically convince themselves that such and such a character who is presented as cisgender heterosexual etc. in the story is secretly gay or lesbian or transgender or whatever. It's a thing they do because they want to identify with characters, and if there aren't any characters explicitly identified as homosexual or transgender or whatever, then they will basically invent them or invent stories to convince themselves that one of the canon characters is secretly trans or gay or whatever, even though it's never actually specified in the text itself, purely because it doesn't say they're not, and therefore that means they must be. I'm sure you can see the flaw in the logic already. But let's analyze this text. I'm not going to read the whole thing out, but I'm going to just go through it point by point. So the first argument they make is that Snape says that there will be no foolish wand waving in his class. It says her class here, but I'm going with the argument that Snape is not trans, so I'm using male pronouns for him. Basically, they say that this comment is a rejection of masculinity, especially in light of the many moments of phallic humour wands provide us throughout the series. Wands as phallic symbols is again a very common thing in Harry Potter theories and fandom, but there are two things wrong with it, that I can see at least. Firstly, witches also use wands, and so if they were truly symbols of masculinity, then it doesn't really make sense for the girls to be using them as well. Secondly, unlike most phallic symbols in fiction, and indeed phalluses themselves, the size of a wand has nothing to do with its performance. What actually does affect the performance of a wand is its core, which is completely invisible, and that only affects it slightly. The real determinator of how powerful a wand is simply how powerful the witch or wizard is and how well they can use it. In other words, it's not the size, it's what you do with it that counts. So that kind of shoots down the whole wands as phallic symbols argument, because you think if they were, then their size would be a direct indicator of their performance, but they're not. I mean, find me any scene in a Harry Potter book where someone says that that bigger wands are more powerful, or any scene in Harry Potter where two wizards, because it would probably be wizards, compare their wands to see which one is bigger than the other. It doesn't happen, because that's not how wands work. So there you go. Next point. When Snape tells the class that he doesn't expect you will really understand the beauty of the softly simmering cauldron, blah blah blah, he invokes classically feminine witchcraft symbolism. Potion making and poisons have a long and fascinating history of being associated with femininity. Okay, since when? I've never heard that before, and besides, a man can have feminine interests and talents without being trans. Just because a guy is into girly hobbies like knitting, sewing, cooking, etc., doesn't mean he's secretly a girl. Gordon Ramsay is a very talented and famous chef, and he's not a trans woman, as far as I know, anyway. Cue shockingly convincing argument that Gordon Ramsay is trans article appearing in the next few days. But no, there are a lot of successful people in feminine, again using massive quotation marks, hobbies that are male and are cis male and identify as male. So just because someone has a feminine interest doesn't mean they're trans. And again, whenever does it say in the series that potions is associated with femininity? It also says that Snape's affinity to potions and her incredible talent have also been interpreted as an effort to find a magical way to transition. Well, guys, okay, so changing, I'm not sure if it's never been really touched on, whether or not you can use magic to physically change your body from one sex to the other. Polyjuice potion will do it temporarily, but there's nothing to say that can be done permanently. But okay, Snape can make Polyjuice potion. If he really wants to transition that badly, why doesn't he just have a batch of Polyjuice potion with the hair of some dead woman or something in it, so he can change into her because he doesn't want to. That's the point. That's why. Again, they talk more about Snape as a teenager trying to make a potion that can help him transition without side effects. There are potions to alter one's appearance, and others change physical attributes potentially forever, so how could this not be a very strong contender for magical HRT? Again, it's circumstantial. Potions could be a strong contender for lots of things. There are potions that do almost everything. There are potions that kill you, potions that put you to sleep, potions that can change your physical appearance. There, like many others, I can't remember them now off the top of my head, but just because some potions can change your physical appearance and attributes doesn't mean that's like the only thing a person would be interested in potions for. Snape's interested in potions because of the huge range of possibilities that potions have. Snape's interested in potions because of the elegance and, you know, craftsmanship that goes into making them. It's basically an artist. He likes to be, you know, I can't think of the right words for it. He likes to put effort into things. He likes to spend time. It's basically like a chef. Anyone, when cooking a good meal, it's like you put the time and effort in, you measure out the ingredients carefully, you stir it, you do whatever, and then at the end you get the result, which comes out great if you've done everything correctly. And it can sometimes be very precise. It can sometimes, like, the slightest deviation from the recipe can make your end result turn from a delicious meal to an inedible mess. And that's the kind of, I think that's the kind of satisfaction that Snape gets out of potion making. Just knowing that you have to be, like, so precise and careful and everything with what you're doing, but if you do it right, then you get something that's truly amazing, and even more so because you actually put the effort into it and the skill required into it. And that has nothing to do with being transgender. That just has to do with being a perfectionist, I guess, or an artist. And again, like I said, there's loads of other things you can do with potions. It's not just changing your appearance. Then it goes on to say, we all know that Severus Snape had unrequited love for Harry Potter's mom, Lily, who is married to a macho jerk named James. Although Voldemort murdered... Well, okay, James was a macho jerk when he was in school, I'll give you that. There's no indication that he was when he was an adult and when they were married. Although Voldemort murdered them both, Snape's love transcended their death. In a secret arrangement with Dumbledore, and due to an allegiance with Lily, Snape essentially becomes Harry's surrogate mother. Since when? Snape hates Harry. He makes that very clear throughout the entire series. He's a borderline abusive teacher. He treats Harry really unfairly. If he is a surrogate mother, then he's not a very good one. I think whoever wrote this probably didn't have a good relationship with their own mother, because Snape's treatment of Harry is anything but motherly. It says here, Snape is thematically a stand-in for Lily, Sirius is a stand-in for James. Again, in what way?